Good evening and welcome to PRTV Spurs, Paxton Road TV. It's the final countdown. It's the final reaction show of the season. Sheffield United 0, Tottenham Hotspur 3 at Bramall Lane yesterday, 4 p.m. kickoff. Tottenham are in the Europa League. Welcome to the reaction show. So the season is over. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club finished 5th in the Premier League, and we have a rest until August the 17th, I think it is, when the new season begins. But I'm sure before then, the fixtures will be coming out. Welcome to the final reaction show. And as always, Sam is on holiday, enjoying the sun in Tenerife. But Sean Hurl, Tottenham Tifosi, is in the house.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Sean.
good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Absolutely. How are you, my friend?
I am, quite chipper today. Had a nice, relaxing afternoon eventually, yesterday afternoon. I've seen some progress at Tottenham Hotspur. Now it becomes, when the transfer window opens in a few weeks' time, we'll see what the ownership of this football club wants to do. But more points, more goals, less goals conceded, and 66 points. Not bad for a first attempt at the Premier League, Mr. Postecoglou. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I stand corrected. David Clark from Leicester, good evening. I stand corrected. We don't, because we play on Wednesday. I meant Premier League football, not a stupid friendly in Australia where they're going to be knackered. Just absolute bizarre to go yesterday straight after the game to Australia. But money talks, unfortunately. So here we go. Anyway, so yesterday, I predicted the team as always. You know how it is. I need to be his assistant, because I know how to pick the team. But going into the game yesterday, all I'm going to say is shame on all these Tottenham fans, not all of them, but some of them, who decided to watch Manchester City versus West Ham or Gooners versus Everton instead of watching their own Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I watched the game. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit about what was going to happen. But it did not take me away from watching Spurs, because at the end of the day, we are Spurs supporters through and through, and we watch our team, not fucking other teams, because they got in a title race. Sean, you agree with that one?
Yeah, I've been admonished by Big Ange for showing weak mentality last Tuesday. And I'm sorry, Ange, I wouldn't change. But anyway, I mean, I've always said to you, and I've said to other people on this pod, if Arsenal were playing in my back garden, I would draw the curtains. So that's the way I am. Tottenham for me. I will watch occasional bit of Serie A and a bit, and watch a bit of the SPL. I was very jealous on Saturday evening to go downtown Glasgow and see all the Celtic boys celebrating another title. And I was just thinking, I think I shared it with you in the group chat that I'm just jealous. I mean, I want that for Tottenham Hotspur. I want to be, on the high road on a sunny day in May, celebrating something with blue and white plumes of smoke everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
love a bit of pyro, me.
I agree with you. And even the celebrations at the Etihad in the dressing room, led by our very own ex Kyle Walker, you won't think they'd won it for the 4 times on the trot, and some of them, like Forden, won it 6 times. Because boy, their celebrations were like they've won it. Oh man, they were mental, absolutely mental. So you know what? Kudos to them for doing that. But we said it on the preview show, didn't we? We could not lose this game yesterday to Sheffield United. We could not go to Sheffield United, who have conceded over 100 goals, and end up losing, because that would have been an absolute catastrophe. And watching the game, then, before we go into the stats and that, what did you make of it, Sean? Because I'll tell you, for one, them first 10-15 minutes, Sheffield United, in the first 5 minutes when they had that chance, when what's his name, Bertrand Diaz had that chance, and I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, typical Tottenham, isn't it? It's gonna happen. But then luckily, well, not luckily, we put a foot on the game and then controlled it, but didn't control it, if you know what I mean, because they was always in the game.
That first 10 minutes brought back horrible memories of sitting in the home end at St James's Park in 2016, having had to buy a ticket in the home end in order to get to a game where, I thought we were in the shakedown for a title, and getting humiliated 5-1,
Yeah.
And at one point then being reduced to 10 men as well. It's still one of my darkest days in football history. I mean, particularly as they were relegated already and were going down. But anyway, that's that first 10 minutes did give me the heebie-jeebies. But and one of those that Brereton chance came from a terrible header by Dragushin, who went on to redeem himself by what was quite a competent performance, I have to say, all the time. But anyway, it was we did, in the end, once we'd taken the lead, we were in complete control. It was nice just to be able to coast through, and kudos to the away fans who went and backed the team. Were very noisy throughout the game. Were keeping us up to date with the Arsenal score, so I don't know why you had to watch Arsenal. It was a lovely day in the sunshine.
Absolutely.
I do think it'll be a while before we see Sheffield United, unless they have a complete overhaul.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then, going on to the game yesterday, then Sheffield United 0, Spurs 3. Almost, I said 4-0. Confident, comfortable win, I said. And Sam looks at me and was like, huh? I'm like, yeah, it's going to be comfortable. Because if we can't be comfortable against Sheffield United on the final game of the season, who have conceded and relegated, then there's problems. So overall,
I think I was in Sam's camp, to be fair. I think I said 2-1 or something anyway.
Yeah. Nah, never in doubt. So overall then, Sean, yesterday, they had 24% possession. We had 76%. It was always going to be that case because we love to keep the ball. And there was a few times in that game when I thought we went all the way up to top and then we come all the way back. And even the fans were like, what the hell is going on here? Because I think there was once, I don't know if it was Sheffield United fans that booed it or whatever, where we went all the way from the back to the front and then brought it all the way back because we just couldn't get past them. But this was always going to be on the cards, weren't it? 24% to them, 76% possession to us. They had 6 shots. We had 18. So we had 3 times as many shots. Off target, they had 3 and we had 3. On target, they had 1. We had 9 on target. Shots in and outside the box, they had 3 in, 3 out. Shake it all about. And we had 14 inside and 4 outside the box. 218 passes. and they had 73%. 697 passes we had, 91% accuracy. David, I'm reading your comments and I'm going to bring them up as and when we need to, yeah, but I have not forgotten your comments, and you have got 2 points that I need to bring up as well, so bear with us. 72 passes in our half. We had 284, almost 4 times as much. Touches in the opposite box, they had 8. We had 42. So, complete dominance, Sean? You're on mute.
I muted myself there. Yeah, a terrible cough. Yeah, I thought we had 42 touches in the lead up to Porro's goal in the opposition box. You know, it was like you have a shot, no, you have a shot, no, you have a tackle which becomes a shot. You know, it was it was bonkers. But yeah, it was yeah. I mean, you know, that is dominant, isn't it? 91% pass accuracy. It was bizarre. I mean, we kind of took control in the first half, but we again, you know,
rude chances.
The pace on the ball was not, you know, quick enough at times, and we were a bit ponderous.
Yeah,
and it was very much noticeable when they stepped up the pace in the passing that we actually killed them in the second half. You know, and that's, you know, no fault that we got 2 really well fashioned goals. And you know, enjoyed that. Felt sorry for Bentancur, whose wonderful shot from the edge of the box rattled the inside of the post and came out. But you know, that's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in all, can't complain. You know, that's the stats. They speak for themselves. I mean, at least it matches the goals this time as well. You know,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. How often have we had dominance in possession, but not actually in the one stat that counts, which is goals for against. You know?
Absolutely. And Maddison should have buried one. Absolutely buried. He should have dinked it instead of trying to go underneath the goalkeeper. And as David Clark said here, have you ever seen a worse miss than Romero? I when I watched that, and then it's the way he even tries to attempt shots on goal casually, like he does when he's coming out from the back. I thought he was offside because of the reaction of him and everything else. But then when they played the replay, and I thought, how the hell has he missed that? That was like, it was easier to miss than score, wasn't it?
Do you know, I must have completely erased this Romero. I just don't remember it.
Do you not remember it at all?
No, I don't remember it at all. No,
it was crossed in by.
I was watching the game.
It was crossed in by Pedro. It was just after, or was it just before Maddison's one and Bentancur's? Ball was crossed in. He stayed up, and it was a beautiful ball into the box. And even a commentator said, "What a ball!" And Romero had all the time in the world. Yeah, open goal. Well, one in front of the goal, nobody around him, and he's just come off his foot, or he's tried to come. I don't know what he's done, but he's come off his shin or the side of his foot or whatever, and then he's just casually walked away. And we're like, was he offside or something? And then he went, no, it wasn't. But then when they replayed it, wow.
Well, maybe he still had a flea in his ear from telling Ange that he wasn't going to Melbourne with him.
Yeah,
maybe. I know he's an absentee on that flight to Melbourne.
He is.
So yeah,
maybe Ronnie Rosenthal when he hit the crossbar some years ago. David Clark reckons maybe. But do you know another interesting fact I found out? Do you know Romero's the highest scoring centre back in the Prem this season?
Yeah, that's an incredible stat.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But you know what? Fair play to him for a centre back, you know. And to be fair, I think he should have scored a lot more than what he did. I think. Yeah,
there was a header against Burnley that he should have buried for certain.
There's a few, isn't there? Yeah. There's a few.
You know, again, you know, the Burnley keeper and then Fotheringham yesterday had an absolute worldie. You know what I mean? Isn't it? I mean, look at that shot that Son had in the first half. In the melee, you know, which I mean, you know, 9 times out of 10, that's bursting the net. But keeper palms it away, you know. And
But
sometimes keepers have these days, you know.
didn't he have a blinder against us at home as well?
Oh, did he not? Yeah, but I think he was more famous for the time wasting.
Yeah, I know it was for time wasting.
In the home game, yeah.
Absolutely.
And obviously that worked against him because we scored in the minute 99 or whatever it was. Yeah,
but
so
in all fairness, though, that first half, the amount of chances we had the Maddison one, we had Bentancur hitting the post, we had Romero's one. It should have been plain sailing. We should have gone into that game, I think, as David said.
If we were 4-0 up at half time, it would have, you know, it wouldn't have been a disgrace to us.
That's
you know?
right.
But anyway, there you go.
At 1-0, I'm still thinking, oh no, here we go. Is he going to be one of them where 1-0 is one of them 1-0s where we've done everything but cannot score? Keepers having a blinder, or they're going to come out second half and just steal it from Spurs. But kudos to Tottenham, come out second half, continue the way that we did in the first half, and just played it around very, very, very comfortable. But before we talk about the second half, let's have a look at the team then that I predicted. And
yes.
You
get flowers today, Sid. That was absolutely a good call. Well,
the defense was the one that played against Manchester City with Vicario in goal, Dragusin, Romero, Pedro Porro, and Mickey van der Ven. Bentancur in the middle, Saw and Maddison. Johnson on the right, Sonny on the left, Kulusevski up top. Now, this lineup, Sean, I personally think Saw did have a good game. I think his passing was quite below par again yesterday. He had the energy, but I think it was one of his poorer games. I think Maddison, again, was non-existent. Once or twice he was there. He was trying to do things. I don't know. I think the season's finishing now, and I him to get 100% back to normal. I think Kulu had a decent game. Scored 2 goals, obviously. Johnson,
man of the match according to Spurs fans. So
yeah, Kulu, he had a really good game. Dragusin done well, like you said as well. Came in, obviously Romero, Porro, and Mickey van der Ven. It's very comfortable in my opinion. But we're gonna talk. Let's talk about obviously Kulusevski, right? David loves Kulusevski, doesn't he? David loves.
You nearly bit your tongue off there, I think, Sid.
Yeah, David loves Kulusevski. So I want David's opinion. How did Kulusevski play in yours? Oh, here we go. Is it a coincidence that we play against a team who has conceded 106 goals this season, and he is one of the worst of all-time Premier League teams, and Kulu scores 2 goals? I think so. There we go. Yeah,
that could be taken as a backhanded compliment. Is it a coincidence?
Yeah,
and I think no. Oh no, I think so. Oh well. No, yeah, I think Kulu. I'm a big fan of Kulu. I must admit, there's something about him. He's not suited for an inverted winger. He's just not that player, because you need more pace than he's got. But what he has got is he's got physical strength to hold the ball up, you know, and you know, bring players into play. And I thought he was excellent. He was turning up all over the place yesterday, and you know, probably on the basis of his performance, really gave us the sort of bedrock for our victory. So he gets his flowers from me, and you know, hopefully he can have a good rest in the summer, and come back ready for pre-season, which will probably come quicker than we care to think.
Yeah, I think Kulu had a decent game as well, and obviously it's like David said, was it because of the opponents? But just one for the Arsenal fans. Imagine if he had started on Wednesday. Then do you think he could have given Man City a bit of grief and maybe more impact than Maddison did? Who knows? Who cares? Yeah. But yeah, so he got his 2 goals. Son done all right as well. Yeah, Juice Nuts is saying here, Kulu is excellent as a big man up front, not an inverted winger.
Yeah, he can actually play that back to goal role, really, but much better than Son can, because he's just got the physical strength.
And he can hold it as well, can't
Yeah,
he?
he can hold the ball up,
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I mean, probably with the players available to him, that was probably, I mean, people have been making a lot of this kind of false nine, but with the players available to him, that was probably the best team that Ange could pick. And kudos to the Melbourne Messiah. He did the job. He was obviously in tune with you.
Yeah, do you know what, David? I sort of agree with you. Kulu was, when he first came, he was his biggest fan. And then he had a first great season, but since then his production has gone down drastically. I sort of agree with you there. I think when he first came, he was brilliant, but this season he's been on and off, and there's been more bad performances, in my opinion, than good performances with him. And he's one of them that can frustrate. And I think he has frustrated a lot of our fan base, because down that right, he hasn't beaten a player. Yeah. And then when he has, instead of shooting or cutting, he wants to cut back in onto his favourite foot. So everybody sussed him out. So there was a lot, and I'm sure if someone does a reel, there's a lot of times when he's had the opportunity to shoot, he hasn't shot, and he's pissed people off. So, and I don't know what's missing with him, but I think he's gone a couple of steps backwards. I don't know, maybe because he's been playing as an inverted, maybe he's not been playing enough games, but doesn't mean that we get rid of him. Then do we stick with him, and hopefully next season he carries on further under development from Postecoglou, or are we going to look out for a right winger to replace him? What's your opinion on Kulu?
I mean, from what I'm getting from what Andrew's saying towards the end of the season, is that no player is necessarily a shoo-in, really, with maybe a handful of exceptions. And should someone because there's been talk that Napoli want to sign him from us.
I heard that as well, yeah.
Yeah, if someone came in and offered good money for him,
yeah,
you'd probably say, well, maybe he's and I do feel that this summer we're going to have to get used to some players who we quite like.
Yeah,
who might be moved on because they don't suit Ange's system. Ange's system is to get very high quality chances. Hence this thing of getting to the byline, cutting the ball back, or slicing it along the 6-yard line, or cutting it back to the back, the back of the. He wants those. That's how he played at Celtic. And the more I've been reading about him, you can see that that's what he was trying to do, is get those one-on-one shots from anywhere between the penalty spot and the edge of the 6-yard box. And that's where he's been successful throughout his career. And I think that's what he's aiming for us to do. So, if someone came in and offered us, I don't know, did it cost us 30 million or something like that? I don't know.
It's got to be 50, 60 million, hasn't it? It's got to be 50 plus.
Yeah. But if someone came in and offered us 40, would we take it? I think so. I mean, I don't think it's But
then it's who you get for that 40 million, Sean. Because you
say you just add it to the. It's not necessarily about replacement. It's and as Angel indicated, it's not just players that we need. He's thinking of staff as well. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
David agrees with you. Spurs have to purchase proper wingers, not pretend ones. We need to hit the byline and put in quality crosses. So yeah, what you were saying. Going back to the team, then that was the team. I think obviously Van der Ven, Dragusin, and Romero Porro wasn't tested really because Sheffield United really didn't give that much. Got to talk about the miss, Brennan Johnson's. Again, I think that was easier to score. Easier to miss than score, and how he's missed that from where he was, because he knew straight away when he put it over, he hands it in his head, because that for me was a shocking miss, mate. A shocking miss. What did you make of that Johnson miss?
Well, I mean, yeah, that stuck in my mind more than the Romero one, I have to be honest. And you know,
Yeah.
it did look easier to score than put it over the
I mean,
bar.
what a ball by Son. It literally
Yeah,
put it on a plate for him, didn't he?
yeah. But I mean, you know, I'm not going to get too hard on Johnson. You know, he's had a very productive season. His
Yeah.
stats are much better than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
He's learning this system, you know. And I thought at one point he did a perfect Ange cross in the second half, and no one was there. No one was there to you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think he's worked hard. He's probably played more games than he should have done, because we just haven't got the quality and of depth in our squad. And I'm hoping this is what we'll start to address in the summer.
If we're comparing then Son's first season to Brennan Johnson's first season, Son played 40 games in his first season. Brennan Johnson has played 33 games. Son scored 8 goals. Brennan scored 5 goals and 5 assists for Sonny, 9 assists for Brennan. So in total, goals and assists, Sonny got 13 in 40 games. Brennan's got 14 in 33 games. So
yeah, I mean, it's as I say, it's a solid start. I think Johnson he's got a ceiling. You know, he's not at his ceiling. He can get better.
yeah,
And you know, he didn't do the preseason with us. He was a kind of a late arrival. I mean, he played a couple of games for Forest, hadn't he? So yeah, I'm being kind on the kid. You know.
yeah.
I thought, you know, all the young players that have, you know, even Andrew's saying that this is SAR's really probably his first season, have all contributed in some way.
Of course.
Some of them and some of them at this time of the year will be carrying injury. We know that SAR's got a back injury,
Yeah,
which, you know, thankfully there's no African tournament, so he'll get a chance to rest once he comes back from Melbourne on Friday. I mean, that's an absolute madness. They'll be back because some of the under-21s players that have gone on this trip
are coming back this week.
Coming back for the weekend because they've got a big game at the weekend. You know,
It's madness, isn't it?
No, it is a bit of a madness, but yeah, you know, hopefully players will get a rest. We'll see what happens. You know, there will be players that, you know, as I say, there will be players that will depart. I don't think, you know, looking at the back line, I don't see any of them going.
No.
You know, there could be question marks around Bentancur, Kulusevski, Højbjerg, you know, Skip and Royale, and you know, there's all. I mean, already the rumor mill is in full flow, so we don't know. I mean, it's.
Jeez, can you prove it? Can you prove that, please? Can you give me some evidence of that one? I don't know where you got that one from.
What I hope he hasn't been doing is going on the run down with Basuma, which is part of his problem. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I don't know. What's this, bro? Nobody's watching. This is you're talking to no people. Okay. Well, we've got 68 people watching wherever they're watching anyway. So, David Clark. Therefore, we need a quality number 9 to sell to Richarlison. So sell Richarlison and buy a good goal scoring number 9. Johnson miss wasn't as bad as you think. Running at pace towards the back post, the ball bounced right, so it wasn't that bad.
That's David Clark speaking like a winger.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he said he's played a wing when he was a player himself back in the day. So yeah, I support him on that. It was probably a harder chance coming at pace, and you know, sometimes it's you know, at the end of a long season, your technique is not quite as good. It should be, but anyway, there you are.
And then obviously, in terms of substitution, Sean, Højbjerg came on for Saar. Like you said, I think he was running out of steam and that, so he came on quite quick. And then he brought on Emerson Royal and Ollie Skip. Question for you: do you think that them three came on because it could be their last games in a Spurs shirt?
A lot of people are making that that kind of illusion, but I mean, if you just look at it, they are a replacement of like for like. You know, I mean, it could be just that. You know, that for me, Skip has always been a contender for the number 6. Højbjerg he plays probably as an 8 for Denmark, so placing Sarr wasn't that much of an issue, and he couldn't do much damage because we were playing the worst team in the Premier League. And yeah, I mean, as far as I could see, they were just like for like. I mean, people want to have an agenda, and I tend to, I'm a bit sentimental. I like to protect our kids, the ones that have come through our academy. And it was good to see, as you're going to go on to the substitutes that came on later on in the day. But yeah, so
and then obviously Scarlett came on for Son, and Mikey Moore got some more minutes again. So that's good. At least Mikey Moore got some minutes. I mean, Donnelly and Dorrington probably, but obviously we know what Dorrington's out. But it is good. It is good to see that. So that's that. Then that is the team. Overall, then Sean. Overall, favorite. Obviously, it was an easy game, and you wouldn't expect anything else. So it was what it was, 3-0, and to nick the fifth. Well, not nick it, to cement fifth position. Europa League. Everybody's saying, "Oh, had we beaten Man City, we would have got Champions League," because Villa got absolutely walloped. However, if we had beaten Man City, do you think he would have probably played the team that he played? Hell, I don't think so. But it was a weird one, absolutely weird one. How Palace absolutely slaughtered Aston Villa 5-0.
Well, I mean, all I could think was that Watkins and co were on the beer from Tuesday night after they confirmed that they got Champions League. But then this boy Glasner seems to have worked a miracle, and again Eze got to prove his value.
Yeah,
that was certainly a flat. I mean and Mateta got a hat trick. So I mean, Glasner's done a great job. I mean, I'm surprised that Bayern Munich haven't made a bigger play for him. To be honest, given how their season has petered. I mean, God, I can't believe Bayern finished third.
It's great, isn't it?
They're not even going to be in the Super Cup before the season starts. So Kane isn't going to even get a chance to win the Super Cup at the beginning of next season. It's absolutely balmy. But there you are. It just goes to show, innit?
This is it. So, what's David saying here? Nah, Europa is appropriate for us at this moment.
Absolutely.
Build the squad depth and take Europe seriously. Do you know what, Juice? I totally agree with you. I did not want Champions League because next season, obviously, you set a new format, and if you finish in the bottom 8, you completely get eliminated, and then nobody else then obviously goes down into the Europa or whatever it is. So I think if we would have got in there, it would have been just in there to accumulate more money for Daniel Levy. I don't think that's all it was, because we're not going to win it. We weren't going to win Champions League next season. However, with this new format in the Europa League, I think we've got a great chance of winning it, and we can concentrate on that. So I'm happy with fifth, to be fair. I sort of didn't want Champions League anyway, because that's just me. Some might agree, some might not, because we've got a better chance of winning the Europa. So that's my take on that one. Sean, you're happy with Europa League over Champions League?
Look, as our boss said, when he took over, we were 8th and falling. Yeah. We were in a mess. In his first season, obviously the first third of it, which was absolutely incredible. The last 2/3, not quite so much. This is going to be an interesting thing. That again, there's changes to the tournament. There's no parachutes down from the Champions League. The final is in one of the most beautiful cities in Spain, in Bilbao. I look forward. I've been to that stadium, not to watch a game, but I've been around it. Lovely stadium. I would love to be there next May with Spurs having a go at winning the competition. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of good teams in there.
And it also gives, like Dickie's saying, it also gives the youngsters an opportunity to play in the Europa League as well.
Of course. I mean, we're going to have to step it up. We only had 41 first team games all season this year. There's going to be a hell of a lot more. The format for that has changed. It's like a 36 team league or something, and it's going to be
could be 60 games at least.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know exactly who how it's going to work out. But there's a couple of qualifying rounds which will be excluded from, and we'll get to the interesting bit when the ties come through. In fact,
Absolutely.
there's 3 qualifying rounds, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
When we actually start playing, who we're up against. But yeah, people have already been putting forward the pots, as it were, and we're in pot 1 for some reason. There's could be some interesting. We could even have our neighbours from Fulham.
Yeah.
The second team in Fulham, as I like to call them, in the competition. Although that could be taken from them should Manchester United manage to win the FA Cup. So
it'll be
it's going to be
interesting.
It's going to be an interesting tournament. I think we should be one of the favourites. But let's see what team we build over the summer.
This is it. Our very own Sam Spurs for Life is in the house. Evening, guys. Apologies, couldn't join. Saw the highlights. He was probably so busy sunning it out there or drinking and on the sun lounger. So he only got to see the highlights.
He was watching it through a haze of Sam Miguel, no doubt.
Yeah. Choose not Sam Tenerife. How goes it? A bit cloudy. So yeah, I mean, I've all these rumors about transfers and all that, which we'll probably do a show on. We'll do a talking points as well about players who we think going to stay and go. Sam's put a comment in there. Ange wants 3 signings. Do you know what?
Yeah, I think that's for another day. I think today we should just be concentrating on yesterday's game
that's for another
and
day.
our feelings over the whole season.
Absolutely.
For me, it was a competent performance. We got off 66 points. We closed off any chance of falling out of Europe altogether, which could, technically could still happened.
I don't think he did.
No,
David.
I mean, on any stat, you can say there's been progress this year. Absolutely. We've scored more goals, and so we conceded slightly less. But I was looking at the table earlier on. Apart from the top 3, a lot of some pretty poor defensive performances. I think Villa have only conceded 1 or 2 goals less than us.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go far down the table, Manchester United, to see teams which have got a negative goal difference.
I know. It's madness.
It's madness. I mean, I think the only teams with positive goal difference are from 7th up, which is Newcastle. After that, everyone's got a negative book. Manchester United -1, West Ham -14, Palace -1. Very good performance to finish 10th, by the way. Brighton -7, Bournemouth -13. You go on and on and on all the way down to the hapless Sheffield United, who finish up with a -69. I say it just goes to show that everything was very concentrated this season at the top of the table, and it was. I would imagine that those teams will be involved again next year. My hope is that we get much closer to them and we put ourselves amongst it, and that's going to take some pruning of the squad and some additions and a little bit of luck, but let's look. I look forward to next season based on this season.
100%. I didn't watch Match of the Day, so I don't know what Ange said. I don't know what. I did watch Match of the Day, and as far as I'm aware, they didn't do that much coverage because they didn't even analyze some of the bits in there. They just talked about it, and then that was it. So I don't know what Ange said at the end. Sam, if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that, but in terms of the season, do you know about anything about?
No, do you know what? I've kind of given up on Match of the Day. I mean, I don't need to see other clubs. As I say, I'm a Spurs fan, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I mean, his post-match conference was quite interesting. When he was asked, what you're going to do on the flight to Melbourne, and he sort of says, He says, have you ever done that, Fly? He says, I've got a couple of series downloaded, and I'm not telling you what they are, because he'd obviously he'd been quite open with his love of Happy Days earlier in the season, for example. And yeah, he just said it's brutal. You know, it's brutal. And he would know because it's his hometown after all. So I imagine they're there now. But God, I wouldn't fancy that trip at all, I must admit.
Juicy saying here, Man City this season were not the same as yesteryear. They were there for the taking and no one picked them. Off-season transfers for all teams with FFP, man, will be interesting. It will be, and like we said, there'll be another day for another talking points or something like that. We can talk about that. We'll see. Okay, Sam saying here, was asked if fifth he would have taken at the start of the season. Or, oh yeah. He was asked at the end. I remember now, Sam. He was asked, would you have taken fifth at the start of the season? He said no.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, because that, I mean, you know, if this week hasn't demonstrated anything about Ange Postecoglou, the more I'm reading it, you know, in the book that I recommend, the book Revolution, you know, that's his default position. He's looking higher, and you know, how long has it been since we've had a coach who A, wants to be here, and two, has got you know, wants you know, is looking forward to next season, is, you know, doesn't, you know, isn't disowning, still talks about we when he talks about the club. You know, he's not a fan, but he still talks about we. He knows he carries our hopes with us, with him and the team, and you know, I'm more than prepared to you know, give him his due. You know, if Arsenal are complaining about us losing to Man City, if you want to know where your 2 points were, back in September at your place when you couldn't beat Tottenham.
Do you know what, Sean? I'm not even getting into that because there's so much shit, and I'm not interested on how they won it, how they lost it, because there's so many different theories. And as far as I'm concerned, they can go and do what they want to do. They didn't win; they came second, so it is what it is. So I think for me overall, then I think they good season, first 10 games, then they sort of dwindled down, and then the 2 decent performances at the end. I think City was a good performance, and then the final game, obviously Sheffield United, they showed a little bit more, and I think they must have been told to go out there and please the fans and put in a performance, which I think they all did. And there's just one thing I want to talk about, which David mentioned right at the beginning, was, and I totally agree with him, why did it take a player who has had very few games to teach the other clueless players on how to protect your own keeper from set pieces? This wasn't Ange, it was down solely to Dragusin. Did you see that? Dragusin.
I saw that, but I'm not having that. No, I'm sorry. Other players had stepped up to defend Vicario, and to be fair, Vicario has, you know, since it's been talked about, I don't think we've been that bad on set pieces. We went man to man in one game, I remember, which everyone was saying that was the way to go. Even though historically statistics say man to man, you can see more goals than zonal defense. So I think, you know, it's.
I think what David is saying here is
for courses.
It is, but I think what David is saying as well is, I think, well, yes, some players are protecting him, but you could clearly see Dragusin just standing in front of Vicario and not letting him.
I mean, can you remember another corner kick that Sheffield United had?
No, but what I'm saying is, previous games we've not had that. Anybody in what Dragusin was doing is standing right in front of Vicario.
No,
and, you know what I mean. So
I've seen players doing it. Madison doing it and what have you. Yeah. So it's not.
It is.
I don't think it was. You know, it's obviously something rankled, and fans want. You know, sometimes I feel fans want to have an agenda. Our fan base particularly want to have an agenda when where one doesn't exist, you know.
Choosing not. What scares me was Ange showing frustration in the last few games, which we didn't see before. Hope he uses it and brings change. I think, you know what? I think it's a learning curve for him. First time in the Prem this season. He obviously had his expectations. Yes, we had that blip, and then the Arsenal thing sort of pissed him off, and the Man City thing sort of pissed him off. So I think it's a learning curve. I think at the end of the season, I think he'll go back. He's going to sit back. He's going to obviously look at everything. He's not going to change his ways. He wants to be a winner, and he's already said that. I'm coming here to win.
Again, fans were complaining that he was too passive.
Yeah,
you know, he seems to be hung for a sheep or a lamb. And I mean, what is he supposed to do? I mean, it's bonkers. You know, I think a lot of our fans need the summer off. To be honest, go and stick their heads in an ice bucket. You know,
they've got the summer off after Wednesday when they after we play Australia.
Sorry, it finished yesterday. This is purely a money grabbing exercise.
Of course it is. That and Japan and everything. It's all money, 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 money. So
that's more pre-season. I accept that they all go on a pre-season to hone training and things like that. But
tomorrow's just money, mate. Wednesday is just money, 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 money. Right. So final thoughts then, Sean, on the game. Obviously, we'll do a roundup of the season on talking points or a special when Sam comes back, if he doesn't book another holiday. But
if he comes back,
final thoughts.
Very competent performance. Dealt with a team which sometimes we would take too lightly. Got the 3 points. Clean sheet. Clean sheet. Anybody? We're all calling for clean sheets, and some great goals as well. I mean, I thought Poro's hit was unbelievable. He needed a net to save a few of our fans from behind that goal. The way that was travelling. And I mean, I liked the last goal as well. I mean, that pass by Son was like Modric in his heyday, outside of his right foot. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what? When you see that the first time, it does look good. But when they showed the replay from the two angles, the way he just and that was similar to what he done for Johnson as well. But that pass, they did not talk about that. That needs to be talked about.
But also kudos for Maddison deep in the game, you know, making that pass work, you know, by chasing it down. So it was good.
What a pass. What a pass. I mean, for me, it was a good performance. Obviously, we had to win that game because had we lost that, then I think a lot of fans wouldn't have been happy. The players done well. We got the 3 goals. Like you said, kept a clean sheet. 5th place. So overall, 5th, happy with that. We just, like Q's Nuts is saying here, onwards and upwards. And
absolutely.
On that note, Sean, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the comment section, wherever you're watching it on, whatever platform. Jews, Davey, Clark. Who else was in here? Obviously, Sam's here as well. We had Dickie as well. Who's this Tree Harar? Everybody else who's been watching us throughout the whole season, thank you everyone. Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting previews and reaction shows all season, and that's everything. And now the end is near. So we have done the final reaction show of the 2023-24 season. Hope everyone enjoyed it. There should be a talking points at some point, and also we'll be doing an overall review of the season, and most importantly, we'll be doing who stays and who goes at this club in the summer. Sean, as always, thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Thanks for the invite. I've always enjoyed talking about my football club.
Absolutely. Everybody else, as always, thank you very much. Come on, you Spurs!
Develop.